What is going on, everybody? Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Incline Dodgers podcast presented by BLEAV, TickPick, and Fanduel. I almost forgot. We should play our intro, but while everyone's here, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Hope everyone's having a great week. Dodgers 5-0 in spring training. Have yet to hit a home run, but let's get to that intro real quick as we boot things up. Oh, I can't seem to find it. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Well, in the meantime, I'm joined by Dodger Dougan. How you doing, Nick? How's things been going for you?
Yeah, doing good. I've just been enjoying watching spring training so far. Like you said, no home runs, but 5-0. Yeah, it's looking good so far. Definitely a lot of the top prospects have been performing well so far.
On a glimpse of Zaire Hope, a lot getting into the mix during spring training. But for those watching the YouTube live stream right now, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and
we've had all the pomp and circumstance, we've had all the fuss and feathers, but it's time for Dodger baseball.
All right, there we go. Now the show can get started. Rookie mistake on my part. I should have fired that up before we even started talking. All right, let's get into some of the big storylines here. So we've got 5 games in the books, like I mentioned. The Dodgers are 5-0. They're just running away with things during spring training. It is only spring training at the end of the day. But we want to focus on some of the Dodgers players, some of the guys we've had a taste of so far this spring. And I think today was maybe the most important game so far for the Dodgers spring training in terms of individual showcases, because Roki Sasaki made his Dodgers 2026 spring training debut, and it was not good. It was not pretty. It was kind of a letdown. He was supposed to go 2 innings. He only managed to get 4 outs. He really struggled. But before we get into all the pieces there, I want to get your overall thoughts, Dodger Dougan, on Sasaki's outing today.
Yeah, I mean, the command to start off definitely wasn't there. It looked like he was, trying to work on that third pitch. He did throw one really good pitch I noticed was the forkball earlier, which had a lot on it, which was pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, overall, just the command wasn't there. I mean, the fastball did sit at around 96 for the most part, and I believe it topped out around 98. But yeah, just maybe it's just like his first start spring training. Hopefully next time he's out there it'll be much better. But yeah, just maybe looked like he was a little nervous. But spring training, he can work out the kinks, and looks apparent that he's working on a third pitch right now.
Yeah, he actually threw 4 different pitches today, and I'll break them down in terms of stuff and success in a second. But Roki Sasaki, 4 outs, 3 earned runs, couple walks. He did have 3 strikeouts, but I think the biggest stick factor is the 3 earned runs that he allowed earlier this afternoon. At one point, he was just falling behind in every count. I think of the first 6 batters he faced, 5 of them was a first pitch ball, which is never a recipe for success, especially a guy that's got some command issues. And that seemed to be the case for Roki Sasaki today. I know he gave up an RBI base hit to Nolan Arenado. I believe Tawa did some damage against him. They just had his number, unfortunately, and it's only 1 outing. It's his first spring training look, and you can't really hit the panic button just yet on Sasaki. He'll have at least 3, maybe 4 more outings this spring, I have to imagine. But the first glimpse of Roki Sasaki so far, honestly, I was not impressed. couple perks. The fastball was higher velocity than some of his down points last season. He hit 98, 97, 96 a few times today. His splitter looked really good as well. That's arguably his best pitch that he throws. Had some good shape with the splitter today. The TJ Stats, who I like to refer to in terms of his stuff metrics, gave it a positive 111. 100 is the average middle mark, but 111, pretty good. He tried to throw a sinker today. He threw 4 sinkers. Not very good. 82 grade or 82 stuff grade. It was not a pretty pitch. And the cutter, which we heard a lot about him trying to incorporate into his arsenal, the cutter had some movement. The cutter looked good. Fairly good pitch. But, I mean, fastball, sinker, cutter, and the splitter. Can Roki Sasaki be successful if he's not throwing a pitch like a slider or a changeup or a curveball? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like even last year, I believe he had almost as many walks as he did strike in the regular season. Although he was very, very, very good in the postseason as the closer. But yeah, and I mean, even the command his rookie year last season. Yeah, I mean, he just threw a lot of. Didn't really have the command for most of the season. I mean, it did click in October, but yeah, I mean, if he doesn't develop a consistent third pitch, I mean, yeah, there could be some issues there, but it's still spring training. I think they have a set plan for him to try to get him ready by the start of the regular season. And yeah, I mean, it's still 5 games in, so we'll see what happens.
If Sasaki's next couple outings kind of resemble what they look like today, do you think there's any possibility he doesn't make the opening day major league roster?
I mean, yeah, there's a possibility. River Ryan today looked really good. And I believe they might slow play River Ryan to start the season. He may not, get started right off the bat. But yeah, if Sasaki continues to struggle, you have River Ryan, Gavin Stone's going to be coming back. You still have Robleski if they want to go with that option as a starter. So yeah, I mean, if they don't see the development of third pitch like they want to see from Sasaki and he continues to struggle with command, I mean, it's definitely a possibility. So yeah, we'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, whenever his next start is, I'll definitely be tuning in because, in my opinion, of all the starting pitchers for the Dodgers, how Roki Sasaki looks is the most impactful, in my opinion, because it's pretty obvious they want him to be a part of the Dodgers starting rotation for the present and the foreseeable future. I mean, they keep giving this guy a bobblehead, even though he's really done nothing, in my opinion, to warrant a Dodgers bobblehead night. He still kind of looks like a rookie out there, if I'm being quite frank. You can throw away last season. It was a wash. It was him adjusting to the big leagues, getting accustomed to Major League Baseball hitters and whatnot. But we're in year 2 now of Roki Sasaki, and if he doesn't start to show big strides moving forward, then you start to beg the question, what's the future of Sasaki going to look like? But again, I'm jumping way too far ahead. It's only spring training. It was only his first start. But I definitely need to start seeing some improvements for him because you look down that Dodgers roster depth chart, and we'll talk about Gavin Stone in a minute or so, but he looked sensational in his first outing since the shoulder surgery. He missed all of 2025. River Ryan pitched out of the bullpen. He looked really sharp as well. He had some nice sliders he was mixing in there. Justin Robleski, he just has nasty stuff. I don't know if he's got this. He's got the work body or the body of the type of body structure to be a true big league starter. But as a reliever, no doubt about it, he's a nasty MLB arm out of the pen. We'll just see if he has the stuff to be a starter. But he's been electric so far, and right now those are the big names sticking out to me that could challenge Roki Sasaki. But at the end of the day, it's Sasaki's job to lose. They want him to be a part of this Dodgers starting rotation.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But yeah, I mean, like you said, we have Evan Sheehan, Gavin Stone in 2024. He threw the most of any starter that season. So I know they still think really highly of him before he had the shoulder surgery. So yeah, I believe they'll definitely give Sasaki a chance to make adjustments. I'm sure, just my opinion, my guess, he'll be on the opening day roster just because they think really highly of him and he came off for a really good October. But yeah, let's just hope his next couple starts in training see some improvement with the command, maybe hopefully an uptick in velocity, and to see if he can really develop that third pitch.
Definitely. Edwin Diaz made his Dodgers debut today. Looked like the Edwin Diaz that you would expect. Nasty slider, had a strikeout, didn't give up any runs. Can't really make a whole lot of Edwin Diaz right now, but I just wanted to comment. It's awesome seeing him pitch in Dodger blue, and I know he's off to pitch for Team Puerto Rico in the Baseball Classic in just a few days, so we might only get maybe one more spring training outing from Diaz, if that, but big season ahead for Edwin Diaz. Just excited that he's, part of this team. And shout out to Friedman, because they knew they needed to get a closer entering this offseason, and they got arguably the best closer in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I just to segue into that, I believe the Dodgers had an A+ offseason. They didn't have too many holes to fill, but the ones that they did need, they got premier talent, the corner outfielder in Kyle Tucker, and then shoring up that bullpen with Edwin Diaz. And then we have some, arms in there, got some power arms. Hopefully Tanner Scott bounces back, has a good second season as a Dodger. But yeah, I'm really excited to have him eat trumpets there. And the first time that those trumpets play, the ninth inning will be electric, I'm sure.
Yeah. I know we're only 5 games in, but I'm already ready to declare one winner of this spring training. There's a few roster spots open, in my opinion, entering this spring training. And the first winner, I have to give a shout out to Hyeseong Kim. I think it was really important for Kim to show some strides of improvement heading into the spring training. And so far, huge leap forward compared to kind of how he tailed off last season. He's also off to the World Baseball Classic in a few days, so we probably won't see much more of him pretty soon at Camelback Ranch and other various Arizona spring training ballparks. But over this 5 games, Kim made a statement. He got a base hit off Zach Gallen today. He stole 2 bags against the Diamondbacks earlier this afternoon. At a whole, he's hitting 500 this spring. He's got 1,000 OPS. He's driven in multiple Dodgers throughout the spring training as well. He also played a really good center field as well earlier today. He made a really nice catch out there in the outfield. So for the Dodgers, they needed to find a guy, to essentially replace Chris Taylor, someone that they can play in center field, someone they can play in the infield. They love having versatile utility guys. And when they signed Kim last offseason, I'm sure this was part of the vision, having that guy that they can play all around the diamond, just get some base hits, but mostly play a good defense. And I think a guy like Kim earned his stripes, and I think he's a lock to make the opening day roster. Maybe more so a bench role, but at the end of the day, I think he's on that opening day roster just based off his play this spring.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was just going to say that right now. I believe he's a lock to make the opening day roster, especially with Kike Hernandez and Tommy Edman, being injured to start the season. They won't be on the roster. They're healing from their injuries. Especially with Hyeseong Kim being able to play center field now, I think he'll get some opportunities in center field on days that Andy Pages has off. And if they need him to play second base, he can do that as well. So, yeah, I think he's a lock now to make the roster, especially with the injuries that kind of have right now with Edman and Kike. So, yeah, it's very pleasing to see the strides he's been making. And he's forcing the Dodgers' hands not to leave him off that. I think he'll be on it.
Lucy Chen, shout out to the comments. At this moment, Stone and Ryan should be ahead of Roki Sasaki in the pecking order for the rotation. I don't know if I can go that far just yet, Lucy. It's only been 1 outing in the books. We've got to give them a few more reps out here before we start to make bold proclamations like that. But you look at the body of work at the end of the day. Of those 3, Gavin Stone definitely has done the most so far in the big leagues. I know you pointed it out earlier, him leading the team in innings pitched in 2024. The dude was just a workhorse. He was having a really good season through September when he got shut down with that shoulder injury. And if he can get back to that Gavin Stone of form, no doubt about it, he is definitely a big league pitcher. he looked really good in that first spring training outing. That is Gavin Stone. The changeup was just moving all over the place. He had a few swings and misses. The velocity looked fairly good, 94, 95 on his fastball. And it's only February, so things should get even better for Gavin Stone. But that was a huge milestone for him to check that off, getting that first spring training outing complete, and he looks good.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Dodgers to start the season may go with a 6-man rotation. So, Blake Snell, it won't be ready by that first week. We could possibly see Gavin Stone and also Roki staying in that rotation. So I think the Dodgers will solo play it. They may go with a 6-man rotation to start the year. And I think all three will get opportunities early out throughout the year to make an impact. So it's definitely good to have options.
Yeah, I think it's a lock that the Dodgers are going to have a 6-man rotation. You kind of have to have it with Ohtani in there. He's going to pitch once a week. They have to figure out how to just work in those starts around Shohei Ohtani. But with Blake Snell starting the season on the injured list, most likely, I would think they would want to have a lefty in the rotation. So I would think that Justin Roblesky gets the first nod as, I guess, this quote-unquote 6th starter for the Dodgers. And then with River Ryan, I don't think they need to rush him back. Gavin Stone, I don't think they need to rush him back either. But if Roki Sasaki does continue to struggle, then the Dodgers will have to make a more difficult decision. And maybe one of River Ryan or Gavin Stone do get the nod over Sasaki. But it's still early in spring, and we'll see how these things play out. But yeah, I mean, what I love about the Dodgers is they have amazing starting pitching depth to even have these conversations. There's a lot of teams out there, they don't even have 5 starters that they can trust in a rotation, and they have to just basically find guys off the street to pitch innings for them. The Dodgers have enough starters to fill arguably 2 starting rotations in big league baseball. And I think that's what gives them such a huge edge over other teams, is they can afford to just slow play guys like a Blake Snell. And if Tyler Glasnow gets hurt, they can put him on the IL because they've got guys that they can incorporate and call up and work for innings. So the days of the Dodgers having starters, multiple starters going 150 innings plus during the regular season might be over right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. And yeah, it might be tough in the near future for a Dodger pitching the Cy Young because of that reason, but them not really throwing enough innings. But I think that's great long term to try to, keep this dynasty going. To keep this train rolling, you got to, incorporate young players to get some experience and, to get them some high leverage situations. So the Dodgers are very first-class organization to be able to have those options. Like River Ryan, Gavin Stone, they would be number 2 starters on, a lot of teams in baseball right now. So the fact that the Dodgers have so many options, I think is awesome. And, they know what they're doing. So I'm really excited about this season. And, I like our chances to try to three-peat. But yeah, they have definitely a plan to start out the year. So I'm very confident.
Yeah, that's a good point, that it's because of the way the Dodgers manage their pitchers, it's going to be a lot rarer to see Cy Young Award winners on this team. But like you also said, end goal here is to just win World Series, and they've done a good job of that the last couple years. Any other players that have stood out to you, whether it's pitchers or position players so far this spring, that are worth bringing up? Because I have a few names if you don't get to them.
Yeah, I feel like we might have one in common. Jose De Paula's looked pretty good so far, as far as his at-bats are concerned. There might be a chance for him to make the big league club at some point this year. They might call him up. But I've really liked his approach so far this spring. Zaire Hope's had a couple good at-bats too. I like the one outing for Edgardo Henriquez. He looked really sharp. Just some names in mind right now. But yeah, Jose De Paula's looked really good to me so far.
De Paula has been really impressive, had that double just the other day. Zaire Hope also has been jumping off the page, not only for the success, but the dude is just jacked.
out of nowhere. The guy looks like he put on 20, 25 pounds of muscle. He looks like Mike Tyson out there. I'm like, is this the same Zaire Hope that we saw a year ago? The guy looks completely different. He's just beefy muscle now. And so far, it's been working for him. I mean, for Hope, he's hitting 429 this spring. He's driven in multiple runners as well. OPS of 1270. So really good sign to see for a guy like Hope, as he'll get a lot of at-bats in Double-A this season and naturally probably get called up to Triple-A at some point. I would suspect he's more likely a
2027 Dodgers call-up, but it's good to see some of these farm guys having a lot of success. But the name that I actually want to shift focus to for a second here as a potential, every now and then the Dodgers have a non-roster invite that really stands out in spring training, and you start to have to make the case, could they actually make the active roster? And last year, obviously, David Bodie had a lot of success, didn't get the call, decided to not go to AAA, and hasn't played baseball since. But so far early on in this spring training, Santiago Espinal has really stood out to me. He's hitting 500 this spring. He's got a 1,300 plus OPS. Another reason I think the Dodgers could be high on him is his versatility. Plays some third base, can play all around the infield, can play corner outfield. He's a right-handed bat, so could he platoon with Max Muncy? Don't know. That's also an option on the table. He kind of feels like the replacement for Andy Ibanez, whether the Dodgers were trying to sneak him through the minors or they just decided they didn't want him anymore. I don't think we'll ever get that answer. But Santiago Espinal kind of feels like that replacement. And like I said with the stats, he's looked so far so good with his approach. Any thoughts on Espinal?
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, Dodgers really value versatility and the platoon options. That's interesting that you brought up that could possibly be an option at third base, the platoon with Max Muncy, maybe to face left-handed pitching if the Dodgers should decide to go that route. So, yeah, I mean, that's just another player so far that's kind of stood out the spring training, and the versatility is definitely intriguing. So, yeah, I think the Dodgers definitely probably thinking right now they can keep him on the active roster. So no, he's looked good too.
Yeah, and it's also worth pointing out because Alex Call was reported by Jack Harris that they're slow playing him, and we haven't seen him at all this spring. It's looking more likely than not that he starts the season on the injured list. And so that gives the Dodgers more options with who they could have on their bench. So if we quickly just go through the numbers real quick of who those options are. So to make things simple, we're going to say Tommy Edman, he's confirmed on the IL. So we'll give Miguel Rojas that spot. He's not even in the conversation. Rojas, we know. So 4 bench spots. Dalton Rushing, you give one to him. He's the backup catcher, even though he has not looked good so far. Hyeseong Kim, I already made the case for him. I think Kim's going to be a lock, brings that versatility. Alex Freeland has looked pretty solid so far this spring. At one point was a top Dodgers shortstop prospect, and they continue to play him every day, which makes me feel like they really want to make Alex Freeland a thing. He's hitting 333. I'm fairly comfortable saying Alex Freeland is a strong candidate for one of those bench spots. And then unless I'm just completely missing someone else, there feels like there's a complete wide opening for that last bench spot. And so far, Ryan Ward hasn't really earned it, in my opinion. He's hitting 091. He had a double today, but he's looked pretty bad so far this spring. So unless I'm just completely missing someone, Espinal, that could be the spot for him.
Yeah, you're thinking exactly what I'm thinking right now. Miguel Rojas is a lock. Dalton Rushing is a lock for reasons that you mentioned. I believe Hyeseong Kim at this point is a lock right now, and Freeland. But yeah, I think Espinal definitely has a chance to make that last spot because of the injuries that we right now. Ryan Ward, he just seems like a quadruple A player at this point. Mashes in triple A, but like doesn't seem to be able to hit big league pitching, I guess. So Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if the Dodgers maybe would try to do a trade package sometime this year with him involved in the trade. It just doesn't seem like he's, going to make that big league roster at any point. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to look at. But I think, yeah, like you said, Espinal definitely has a chance to he's making a case right now to maybe get that last spot.
Yeah, Ryan Ward just goes into that classic Dodgers, James Outman, DJ Peters, Luke Raley. You put them in AAA, they look like all-stars. The minute you call them up to the big leagues, they can't hit major league pitching. And for Ryan Ward, nothing against him. I just don't think he has a future with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I know that they were trying to shop both him and Bobby Miller during the offseason, and they obviously couldn't get anything, I guess, worth value in return for them. So they're kind of stuck here right now. But I would hope that we see Bobby Miller pretty soon. I don't think we've seen him so far this spring. His best case of doing anything for the Dodgers, I think, at this point is a relief pitcher, which is a shame because he was at one point a top pitching prospect for us. But yeah, Ryan Ward, I think they're just going to continue to give him at-bats. And when we get closer to opening day, they may have to make a difficult decision with what his future ultimately is with the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers had to make a decision, just thinking on the top of my head with Dustin May, trading him. So, yeah, Bobby Miller is highly touted. I believe it was 2023, 2022. He had like a really good rookie year. But yeah, it's just unfortunate to see that he hasn't really been able to duplicate that or be close to it. So, yeah, I could definitely see him in a trade package sometime too this year, Bobby Miller. But yeah, hoping for the best for him. And, maybe if something does click, he could be in a reliever type role. We'll see.
Definitely. We got a little taste of Freddie Freeman a day ago. He hit a double that was just a laser, drove in a couple runs. But that was the only game from Freddie Freeman. Looks like the Dodgers are going to go with the lineup at the top of Ohtani to Kyle Tucker, who we've seen a couple games from so far. Drew a few walks. Mookie Betts will bat third. Kind of interesting to me that we haven't seen Mookie Betts at all this spring training. I don't really know what to make of that, but I do find that a little peculiar. And then Freddie Freeman will be hitting cleanup for the Dodgers. Anything to make of not seeing Mookie Betts so far?
Yeah, what's going on with that? I could be wrong, but is he on the World Baseball Classic roster, the USA, or did he decide to join?
He's not. I don't believe he's playing this year.
Okay. Yeah, that is weird then. I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't believe it's injury related, but I believe he's been at the practices so far. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. But yeah, like you said with the lineup, I think it's interesting that they want to in the top two with Ohtani and then Tucker. I know like usually last year they did mostly like left, right. And then also having Mookie Betts bat third is interesting to me too. He really struggled like in the season last year and then mostly in the playoffs too. To be honest, I feel like just best batting fifth or even sixth at this point. But Dave Roberts really trusts Mookie and they'll try to give him a chance to see how he does batting third. But yeah, I think it's interesting that they will start with Ohtani then Tucker at the top of the lineup. But Tucker is an on-base machine, so I kind of do see the logic there. But yeah, we'll see out.
I've got another name that's worth keeping an eye out on so far. I don't think he's pitched at all in the majors, but the Dodgers, I think they picked him up as just a non-roster invite. He's really struggled in the minors the last couple years, so I can't really put a lot of stock into him yet. But so far we've seen 2 appearances from Antoine Kelly, and he's thrown 2 scoreless innings, 3 strikeouts, yet to allow any hits or any walks. Could he be a Bonder replacement down the line? I don't know, but I always like to keep an eye out on some of these relief pitchers that I've just never heard of before. And so Antoine Kelly's in that conversation. Paul Gervais, he's looked good so far in his 2 spring trading outings, and even River Ryan's brother, Ryder Ryan, he's looked good. He had 2 scoreless outings so far as well. So maybe these are guys that get called up at some point for the Dodgers in the season when there's some injuries, but just some names worth pointing out on. Another guy that we have yet to see, and I'm sure he'll pitch soon, Blake Trinan. I want to see what Blake Trinan looks like for the Dodgers. As far as I'm aware, he's not hurt, and he should be, one of those staples in the Dodgers rotation, but we have not seen Blake Trinan yet.
Yeah, I'm really hoping, Blake Trinan, has a healthy season. He definitely would help fortify that bullpen. I know we have Diaz now, but yeah, Blake Trinan's A game and hopefully Tanner Scott being good. I mean, I believe like that could put the Dodgers like at the top of baseball as far as the bullpen. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully we see Blake Trinan soon in one of these games coming up. Yeah, kind of weird. We haven't seen him or Mookie so far.
Gonna get to some of the questions now. So appreciate everyone in the YouTube comments, dropping comments. And if you have questions for us tonight, feel free to drop those questions. We'll get to those questions. But we've got SUPT 529. Noah Miller is a much better glove than Espinal and is a switch hitter. Noah Miller has looked really good, no doubt about it. But I do think the one thing that could hurt Noah Miller is it kind of overlaps a lot with Alex Freeland. So I don't really know if you need to carry both Freeland and Noah Miller on the same active roster. I think for Espinal, what helps his case is he can play the outfield. And I think the Dodgers want guys that can play both infield and outfield. So maybe Noah Miller makes over Alex Freeland, but I don't know yet. And I also don't think Noah Miller is on the 40-man roster. So they would have to be really committed to a guy like Miller to add him versus Espinal. I think they'd be more comfortable adding him to the 40-man roster because I don't think they'd be shy with DFAing him later on in the season when Kike Hernandez and some of the other guys come back from the injured list. I think Noah Miller is more of a top prospect long-term. I don't know if that's the same case for Espinal. Craig Osterberg, rushing made 2 challenges and he lost. Does he know the strike zone? That was a brutal showing for Dalton Rushing today, I will say.
Yeah, I mean, it's still spring training. I know this is a new system. I'm very interested in how the Dodgers will approach using the ABS system. If they're, do it later in games when it's like a run game. But yeah, it didn't look good as far as Rushing using those challenges. But, it's still spring training. So, people are adjusting. And the Dodgers will implement the rule as far as like when they might use it versus like how early or how late in games.
All right, so we're completely shifting subjects now. Pete Crow-Armstrong. I feel like every offseason there's a Major League Baseball player that wants to challenge the Dodgers. They want to, trigger the Dodgers crowd. They go after them. And unfortunately, Pete Crow-Armstrong is that new guy. So I'll get into the quotes in just a second. But before I do that, any high-level thoughts on what PCA said about, the Dodgers fans, the Dodgers, etc.?
Yeah, it's just very ironic just thinking because, I mean, one of their fans had to go into hiding. I remember it was like 2003, Steve Bartman went into hiding because he's like tried to interfere with the foul ball, I guess. And so talking about Dodgers fans, that's just really weird to try to like a whole fan base and not a positive light. I mean, there's always bad apples like in every fan base, but yeah, I mean, like Bartman had to go into hiding for months, like, and because fans were threatening his life. So it's just very weird why he would, mention the Dodgers fan base like that. Very bizarre.
So the initial quote is, I don't even know who asked. So he landed on the cover of Chicago Magazine. I guess they asked him some questions. And one of the quotes was, "I love Chicago more and more. It's just an incredible city. The people are great. They give a shit. They aren't just baseball fans who go to the game like Dodger fans to take pictures and whatever. They are paying attention. They care. So obviously PCA has some resentment against his hometown. He grew up going to some Dodger games. He's from the LA area. I don't really know why he threw shade at the Dodgers and their fans, to be honest. I've been to Wrigley Field once, and I will say I was really impressed. Their crowd, they're very knowledgeable. They are invested in the game. There's been times where I go to Dodger Stadium, and I feel like it's more of just a social media extravaganza and kind of like Coachella at times. But I just feel like if you're going to throw shit at the Dodgers like that, you better back up your play this season, because you're going to hear it from the Dodgers crowd, I think, pretty hard this season.
Oh, yeah, I definitely there were some games I was trying to see maybe I'd want to go to at Dodger Stadium. I definitely want to go to Dodgers-Cubs game at Dodger Stadium. I went to Wrigley last season with my girlfriend. We went in April. And, the fans were passionate, but I saw a lot of Cubs fans taking selfies at the game. Like, you go to the ballpark to have fun and have an experience. So, like I said, it's just a very bizarre comment he made. But yeah, that's probably a game I definitely want to go to now this year is Dodgers Cubs. Just to see that reaction would be exciting.
So we're going to take a quick break right now to talk about Fanduel. And since we're talking about Pete Crow-Armstrong, I'm going to throw a random question at you. So right now, the NL Central winner, according to Fanduel Sportsbooks, has the Cubs favored at plus 115. Do you think the Cubs are the favorites to win the division right now in the NL Central?
I do. I think they had a very good offseason. They added Alex Bregman. They added some good arms in the bullpen, if I'm not mistaken either. They already were a pretty good team last year, and I think they got a little better. So, although I do think there are some dark horses not to sleep on, I think, the Brewers, no matter what they do, it always seems like they'll win like between 88 and 94 games. They won 97 last year. They have a chance. I think the Pirates had a pretty good offseason. The top of their rotation is just about as good as any other right now. But yeah, I'd have to say the Cubs. If I were to make a prediction, I think the Cubs are going to win that division. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd be shocked if the Cubs don't win the NL Central. They just seem pretty formidable. So if you want to bet the Cubs to win the NL Central, plus 115 right now. Brewers are second, plus 250. So PCA, who's just embracing being the villain right now, then appeared on Foul Territory. I think that was earlier today. And so they asked him about his remarks, and he got into it even more. He said, all fans fight and stuff, but I remember putting the Giants fan in a coma. That stuck with me as a kid. Just little things, sitting in the stands, nasty stuff goes on like that. And I didn't always experience that at other ballparks. So I don't really know why Pete Crow-Armstrong is just attacking the Dodgers right now, but I feel like this is going to end up like Francisco Alvarez a year ago, where he said the New York Mets had the best lineup in baseball and then they missed the playoffs. PCA is just setting himself up for disaster, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And even like that comment too, it's bizarre. Like, you could point to any, bad apples in the fan base, like what I mentioned. You can mention how Cubs fans were threatening one of their fans' lives because he chased after a foul ball in a playoff game. I believe a Dodgers fan got killed by like Giants fans in San Francisco. I think that happened before. So, I mean, there's always bad apples there. So it's just very weird he's going at that angle, trying to paint a fan base or a large portion of the fan base in a bad light. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see his first game there this season at Dodger Stadium. And, maybe people will take selfies, take a selfie with him striking out in the background. I don't know. Just very weird, the comments he made.
PCA is Pete Crow-Armstrong for Aaron Eck, who's asking in the chat. So sorry if I went to the acronym that wasn't familiar to everyone, but PCA is Pete Crow-Armstrong. So I will say, I think what gives the Dodgers Stadium, what gives the Dodger Stadium crowd the edge is they've built a complete experience when going to Dodger Stadium. Some ballparks, it's just like going to a game and that's it. But when you go to Dodger Stadium, it is like the ultimate experience, and people travel from all around the world, especially Japan these days lately, to come to Dodger Stadium to see the best product in baseball. And there are times where there's some fans there, no doubt about it. They look like they don't care. They're probably just there as a tourist thing. But this fan base is a diehard. You ask most Dodger fans on the street general questions, they're gonna know they're gonna know their team. This city is passionate about the Dodgers, so all this shade is unnecessary. We are electric.
Yeah, I agree. It's just great to go to a ballpark knowing the team is committed to winning. I can't say that the same for the team down the freeway. They may not be committed to winning according to their owner, but yeah, Dodger Stadium is a blast to go to every time I go there. Yeah, it's a great experience. I mean, yeah, people are gonna have fun, take selfies, just have a good time. I mean, that's why people go to sporting events. And I believe Dodger fans are passionate. I mean, I've been to playoff games there. I can remember in 2014 how loud that was when we played the Cardinals, when Matt Kemp hit that go-ahead home run. I mean, it was electric. So, no, Dodger fans definitely are passionate. And, we're looking forward to another great year, and hopefully we can repeat.
You set it up for the next thing to talk about, which is Arte Moreno and the Angels. Reminder, the Angels have not made the playoffs since 2014. They've got the longest drought currently in baseball. I don't even know if it's up for debate at this point, but Arte Moreno has to be considered the worst owner in Major League Baseball. And he adds fuel to the fire with this really interesting quote the other day that he threw out there. According to Arte Moreno, winning is not even in the Angels fans' top 5 things they need at the ballpark. The number one thing fans want is affordability. According to Arte Moreno, he cited a survey that he accumulated through Angels fans. So first of all, I want to know, who was he actually surveying? Because are these like his little minions or something? Because there's no way in hell, unless Angels fans have just become brainwashed, I highly doubt they're willing to settle for affordability over winning. That just sounds ludicrous to me.
It is ludicrous. I mean, pretty much every fan, their number one priority when rooting for a team is they want their team to win, period. I mean, yeah, it's pretty obvious people want to be able to go to a ballpark or a game that's affordable. But at the end of the day, yeah, if you're rooting for a team, you want your team to win. Fortunately, as us Dodger fans, I mean, we've been seeing that for the last decade plus. Back-to-back World Series, we've won 3 championships this decade, hopefully more to come. So yeah, that is ludicrous to say that winning's not number one priority for a fan base. I think that's insane.
It's just such a lost cause for the Angels. They've went from being competitive most years to now they're in a soon-to-be 12-year playoff drought, and it doesn't seem to get any better. You can't even call them a rebuild because they're just bad. They just continue to make poor roster decisions, and Arte Moreno is holding that team hostage. He should be forced to sell the team at this point, and I honestly don't know why Rob Manfred hasn't taken control of the situation yet. To their credit, they are spending money, I guess, on players versus some other teams out there. But I just think it's really crazy for a guy like Arte Moreno to think the fan base wants affordability over success. And it's like you look at Angels ticket prices the last few seasons, there's so many games where it's like $5 to get in the door. You can't even get into a Dodger game for arguably 60 or 70 bucks when you factor in the parking and then the prices to get in the door. And I'd rather have the more expensive side if it means winning than what the Angels are dealing with. That's all I got to say on that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think in that survey, I think even after affordability, I think safety was, just after that. So, I mean, winning wasn't even number 2 or number 3, I believe, in that survey, which, yeah, I mean, of course people want to go to a ballpark that's safer when they want to feel safe with their families there. But I mean, yeah, it's just, and it's not like the Angels are a bad destination. Like, it's great weather, a really good location. I mean, Arte Moreno is willing to spend. It's not that spending's the problem. It's just, how he allocates that. But yeah, really feel bad for Angels fans. They haven't made the playoffs since 24, despite having, 2 generational type players on their roster for a lot of those years. Yeah, it's really just a shame that that they haven't had any success in the last decade. No playoff wins for Mike Trout.
Definitely. So last call for questions, but pass it over to you real quick. Anything else you want to talk about before we get on out of here?
I mean, just to add, like another player was saying, I think it was Juan Soto, how like Shohei Ohtani better, his best this year because he's coming for that MVP. It just seems like we're always on, fan bases and players' minds. But that's a good thing. You have a target on your back when you went back-to-back championships and going for a third. I think that will, motivate the players and, yeah, it'll motivate the fans to definitely be passionate, even though we already are, in my opinion. But, yeah, looking forward to, like I said, like going to a Dodgers-Cubs game this year, Dodgers Stadium, that would be good. So, yeah, I think it's just been funny this offseason, players having the Dodgers on their minds a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't fault these teams because the Dodgers are the target. They are the gold standard. I mean, they've won back-to-back championships now. And to the Juan Soto point, I mean, Ohtani's won back-to-back National League MVPs. And so I think it's good. I think it's good motivation for, these guys like a Juan Soto, like he's yet to win an MVP. I'm sure for someone like him, it'd be pretty special to win an NL MVP over the likes of Shohei Ohtani. But even though the Dodgers won the World Series last season, I know you alluded to it earlier with their offseason moves, this kind of feels like the best Dodgers team on paper, maybe of the 3 that they've had now recently, because they added Kyle Tucker, who we've really yet to talk about because we've just barely seen him so far this spring, but we'll get to feel his presence more once the season gets moving. Michael Conforto goes to the Cubs, ironically, on a minor league deal. So we swapped Conforto for Tucker, literally. Tanner Scott, no longer the closer. They upgraded there with Edwin Diaz. So that's a big hole. And the Dodgers starting rotation, which we talked about a lot, is just stacked. So it's going to be really tough for the Mets, the Cubs, the Phillies, the Braves, whoever, to stop this juggernaut. But it's baseball. Anything can happen. But right now, the Dodgers are the best team in baseball, and they've got 2 titles in a row to back it up.
Yeah, just like you alluded to, I think we're coming in this year better than we were last season. And last season, we were coming in better than we did in 2024. So, yeah, it's really a great time. It's a gold standard right now to be a Dodger fan. Executives voted the Dodgers as the best farm system as well. So people that Dodgers are going anywhere are going to have a downfall anytime soon. I think they're sorely mistaken.
So my last comments, because I forgot to bring him up, and it's been a few days since they actually claimed him, but I don't know why we haven't seen Jack Suwinski yet for the Dodgers. They picked him off waivers from the Pirates, and unless he's injured or I'm missing something, I thought they would just start to get him playing time right away because he can't be optioned. He's out of minor league options. He's on the 40-man roster. So let's see Suwinski. He kind of reminds me a lot of James Outman. And, I mean, there's an outside shot he can make that roster, but he's yet to play, so I can't make that claim yet. But I just want to see – I want to see what this guy has. He was a Dodger killer. Like this guy, whenever he faced the Dodgers, he could hit 150 during the regular season, but the moment he faced the Dodgers, he went off against us.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we will see him as, some of the players start to go to their countries for the World Baseball Classic, like Hyeseong Kim, for example. Maybe we will start, see some appearances from him. It'd be nice to see that, and, maybe we have another option that we can opening day roster or the active roster. So, yeah, I mean, it's exciting right now. Coming off back-to-back championships, we started off good so far in spring training. Looking forward to watching the games until, opening day.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I don't see any final questions, so I'll give you the final word if there's anything else you want to say when we get on out of here.
Yeah, hopefully we can make P Crow-Armstrong eat crow, and just hopefully, it's another great season. Surely we'll be in the playoffs again, but yeah, it'll be another great journey to see how the team goes forward, and looking forward to what the future brings.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of the Incline Dodgers podcast. We've got 5 spring training games in the books. We'll continue to see how our Dodgers look. For those listening on the audio feed, thank you guys. Whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, whatever, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying the content. And for those watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button as well. We'll be doing lives every week, so stay tuned.